I should have played it smart. Used my head, but not my heart. I must have been crazy, played it hot. I should have played it cool. Now I'm just the last of the red hot fools. Yeah. Yeah, so there you go.
So Jarvis, go to live.torontomike.com and come back when we do that again in an hour. Love you. You going up?
There you go.
Oh yeah, that's your guitar.
Oh,
Okay.
and I've got my pick.
Nice meeting you, kids.
Yeah, nice to see you.
You never
guys.
saw such rock stars before.
Except when those punk rock guys were here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Actually, we have to wait to open those, right?
See that?
Yeah, we do the mic. Okay.
Okay.
Bye,
Bye
love
you
you.
guys.
Okay, now we're gonna go because time to go.
That's when we
That's
did
George,
the
that's beautiful.
Akron show.
Right. That's beautiful.
That's the bat.
That's beautiful.
All right, gentlemen, here we
Okay.
go.
Okay, now we're good.
Yes.
Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1146 of Toronto Mic'd. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. StickerU.com. Create custom stickers, labels, tattoos, and decals. Palma Pasta. Fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees. The Yes, We Are Open podcast, a Moneris podcast production. The Advantaged Investor podcast from Raymond James, Canada. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. Ridley Funeral Home. Pillars of the community since 1921. Canna Cabana. The lowest prices on cannabis. Guaranteed. And Sammy Cohn Real Estate. Ask Sammy any real estate questions at sammy.cohn@properlyhomes.ca. Joining me today, making their triumphant return to Toronto Mic'd, are Blair Packham and David Quinton Steinberg.
Woohoo!
Welcome back. So
Thank
let's paint the picture of what everybody missed, which was that my 8-year-old son was very excited to find out that actual professional musicians were going to be in the basement.
Nice. Nice.
And that's you guys, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, who were they?
Yeah, I was wondering that myself.
And Blair, just before, in fact, I caught a bit of it on the recording just because it was like, oh, this is happening. I want to capture it. But you took Jarvis's guitar and you started playing Last of the Red Hot Fools.
I did. Yeah. I felt like, well, you had said to me that he knew the song. He knows the song, which to me is amazing considering it was written in the 1920s, you know.
Well, he doesn't know it from like a Disney Channel or anything like that.
No, I would say not. I would say he knows it from you.
He knows I sing it. And
Yeah.
he did catch a performance of that song live at TMLXX. Thank you, Blair Packham, for playing our event live.
It was so much fun. It was really good. And the food was really good. And David, you should have come.
Is there a reason I wasn't invited?
David, you were invited. Are you kidding me?
I think
Blair,
you were
tell him.
invited. Yeah, you were invited.
Maybe I was invited and
You
I
just blew us
ghosted it.
off.
I
man.
think
ghosted
you
it.
were hanging out with Randy Bachman that night.
Hey, have you know there's a fresh Guess Who episode in the feed, but Randy's not on that episode. But,
Okay.
You can check that out.
David
Check it out.
is his legal representative.
Well, once in a while.
How come I can't
Here
get
and there.
Randy on the show? So who else can you hook me up with, David Quinton Steinberg? And how vital is it that I get Quinton in there? I know you've been here before, but is Quinton like that's part of the brand?
You don't have to worry about it. You can basically call me whatever you want. Yeah, whatever you want, whatever feels comfortable.
But I
for
think
you.
it's kind of cool, David Quinton Steinberg. I like adding that Quinton in there.
It would be hard to get on a hockey jersey.
It's a long one. Well, who's the guy in the Oilers who's got the?
Nugent Hopkins.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's takes up a lot of real estate.
Yeah, totally.
So speaking of real estate, when I dropped the sammy.cohn@properlyhomes.com, he's the drummer for the Watchmen.
Oh, is that right?
Right.
So I don't know if there's a
That's how I
drummer
know
club.
his
Like, do all
name.
drummers know each other in this country?
No,
Is
but
it like
I know the band. I've heard the band.
And
Yeah.
I think Blair opened at TMLXX you opened for Danny Graves.
For Danny Graves, yeah, who sang some beautiful songs.
That was nice, eh?
Yeah,
You were
really
great,
was.
by the way. I know. I just want to say thanks for doing that again, and you were fantastic. But Danny was great too. Like that was actually a magical night.
It was a magical night. I agree. I had a really good time, and Danny sang when things were getting dark, and it had a magical kind of quality to it because there weren't stage lights, but he was illuminated by people's flashlights or something. I don't know.
Watch me
But it was
crowbar
nice.
my way into this.
Yes.
Can I play with you next time?
Yes.
You do it?
Yes. But I think
Yeah, like I don't know. I was actually like for sure. I was thinking David Quinton Steinberg is going to be here. I was looking all over the place.
instead I brought my driver.
Shout her out because I'm going to do an episode of Progressive Past of Modern Melodies with Cam Gordon and Brother Bill. In fact, I got Cam Gordon news for everybody in a minute, but you might guess what it is. But I have it coming up. Yeah. But Sharon Taylor is going to be one of my guests because she was at KISS, CISS, KISS 92.5 when they were like kicking out the Garth Brooks and the Shania Twain and all the new country that was big in the mid 90s.
Yeah, and when for some reason Mike has decided that Sharon is my driver, and he says that to her, and it irritates her. Like,
does it bother her?
Oh,
you know where I got it. You know
like
why I thought that? Because I did legitimately think that from Pete Fowler's event.
Oh, right, because, okay, so...
Like, didn't she drive you to that, or
yeah,
no?
I drove her. She just came along. She wanted to come. My band wouldn't come with me. They didn't want to go because they didn't... In somebody's backyard? No, I don't think so. They were too good for it. But I had the greatest time, and Sharon drove me, and it was really awesome.
See, she is your driver.
Well, no, I should say I drove her.
You drove her.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And she doesn't like it because I've been saying it because I find it funny, but I don't want to upset Sharon
Well,
Taylor.
it's like whenever I say Mark Weisblatt and I were in school together. I know now that isn't true, but that doesn't mean I won't stop saying it.
So let's all open up our Great Lakes beer and get into
all right,
it, gentlemen. Good to see you again.
Great to see you. Here we go.
Right on the mic. Okay, we've all got an IPA, so a couple of us have a burst, and one of you, Blair got the Octopus Wants to Fight, which I love too.
Oh, I got. Yeah,
they make a great beer.
That's really good. Yeah, I love it.
Fresh. Yeah. It's brewed right here in Southern Etobicoke, and they hosted TMLXX. Good to see you guys. So we got a lot of ground to cover. I have some jams loaded up. You're going to play live. Maybe Jarvis will join us. Who knows? Because he's very excited that you guys are here. What do you think about the fact that it gets dark at 5 p.m. now? Any thoughts on that?
There's nothing depressing about that at all.
Yeah, that doesn't make me sad. Yeah.
And I guess it's done that every year. I don't know why. It's like
this year
surprised.
It's worse.
Is it worse this
It's
year?
terrible. I was out the other day and it got dark at 5 o'clock. And I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
I don't even understand why they do it. It has something to do with some farming issue, I think, right?
Yeah. No, well, now it's
Energy
only
consumption.
It's only like 4. When is it? It's November. So December, January, February, March. It's basically 4 months, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. So that and yet daylight savings time is supposed to be the weirdo, but in fact, or the outlier. But in fact, it's regular time, standard time that is the outlier now. And I think they should abandon it.
Like enough is enough. I'm with
Totally.
Stop doing this. Like they don't do this in Saskatchewan. Did you know that? They just
They just let
Saskatchewan is far more evolved than what
I remember, 40 years ago when you were in a band, you could very, very easily get switched around where you were sleeping during the day.
Yes, very
and
easily.
up all night.
Yeah.
And then basically you become a vampire.
and that's
right.
It's not healthy, Mike, at all.
Not recommended.
No, you don't want to be doing that.
There's a guy who we're totally random today.
I like that.
A guy friend requested me today who I don't know. His name is Ryan. I'm not going to repeat his last name.
Oh, that narrows it down.
But
Ryan Vampire.
That's right, Dracula. Yes, I don't know. He wants to meet me and hug me and.
Really?
No. I'm just going with the Dracula thing. He is
it Ryan Reynolds?
He does write in his profile though. He has a couple of notes about how he's learned some stuff about himself, and it's good stuff that he's learned. He needs 3 liters of water a day. He also this staying up, this being a night owl is bad for you. And as I read his post, I thought this is pretty interesting actually. But he was very adamant about the night owl thing. Don't do that; it's bad for your health. He said.
What like on a typical day? What time are you guys packing? See what I did there? Packing it in and going to bed. Like, what's a typical bedtime for you guys?
Well, you want me to go first?
You go first.
Because you're a lawyer, right, David?
Yeah.
You're not a caveman lawyer. You're a rock star lawyer.
And because half of my work is with people in Los Angeles, I split the difference. So I start work late, like what the average person would think is late.
Yeah.
So I might...
Like 11 a.m.
Like 10, 15, 10, something. There's definitely a 10 in front of it. And then going to sleep, I don't know, maybe like 12:31.
That's later than me.
What time are you going to bed, Blair?
I usually go to bed around 11 when I'm not playing. Around 11. So
yeah, me too.
I don't.
When I'm not playing.
Yeah.
What a big baby.
I know. When I play though, I'm often up till midnight or 1. But it's tiring now. It wasn't before.
Yeah, for sure.
We used to play the El Macombo 6 nights a week and play till 1, and then we'd go out to a speakeasy after.
That's right.
And hang out, because you can't just turn it off.
No, you got to come down.
Yeah, that energy, man.
Did I ever tell you when Mods first started playing in the U.S., it was 1978, and in Ontario at the time, it was 1 a.m.
Yeah,
That's
sharp.
when the bars closed. So we were off stage like latest in Toronto at 12:30.
Right.
Latest. And then we went to Chicago, and they told us our start time was 3:30 in the morning as the headliner of the club.
Wow.
Right.
And we were dumbfounded. Like, we just did not understand. And they explained to us, no, people, they party, they're doing it. And then they go out later.
Right.
And they're at the club basically till 5:30, 6 a.m. Then they go home. So we had never heard of anything like that. By the time we got on stage, even at that age, I was like, I'm falling asleep.
Yeah. That was true in Halifax as well, although I think we started our set at 1 in the morning.
Oh boy!
And and we would play till roughly 3. Like
That's
they
crazy.
wanted 2 sets and a break.
Yeah, we weren't doing 2 sets in the middle of the night. It was 1, but still, it was crazy.
One of the many things that amazes me about the great FOTM Blair Packham is that, like, I can drop a name, and then Blair's like got a connection to that name. Like, this happens all the time.
I dated him or something.
Right, something like that.
Like the lasagna guy.
They made lasagna for me.
Shout out to Palma Pasta. Did you guys get a lasagna last time?
Sure did.
Did you enjoy it?
It was unbelievably great.
Yeah. I didn't get one because David got one.
Yeah. I took
wait,
his.
was one of you a vegetarian? You guys eat meat?
I eat meat.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So you're each getting one today.
Oh, fantastic.
Far out.
I oe Blair
We
meat
eat
lasagna.
tonight.
I have
tonight.
Tonight. Well, it's gonna be very
Preheat
frozen.
the oven.
It's kinda, I would recommend you do it tomorrow. You break your teeth on it. It's pretty freaking solid there.
David, call home.
So Blair, the name I dropped because I was just sharing that, like, I'm literally coming off an episode. Speaking of California, I connected with L.A. and I was chatting with Dean McDermott and Mary Jo Eustace. And then, Blair, you mentioned you were in a songwriters circle with Mary Jo Eustace. So I'm trying to connect. So Mary Jo, who I know was like, she was modeling and then she became like a chef. And then she got this gig with Ken Kostick called What's for Dinner. And that was kind of her claim to fame for many, many years. And then she became famous for being like the gal that like Dean McDermott left to go hook up and marry Tori Spelling. What was that connection with Mary Jo? She was in a songwriter circle with you?
Yeah, I was part of this song circle. Well, it was called what was it called? It was called Songworks. And it was run by the music publisher Peer Music, which is a legendary music publishing company. And they had a Toronto office. And the publisher at the time, David Baxter, great guitar player and songwriter, he organized this group. And so the deal was this. When you think about it, it was like my lawyer, who's here representing me in all my dealings, David Steinberg.
DQS.
Yes, he would object to this, but this was the deal. So a bunch of people are in the group, and you get your name drawn out of a hat, and that's the person you're going to write with and come back a month later with a song. That part, nothing objectionable there. The publisher gets half. They get the publisher's share. So you and I write a song together. You get 25%. I get 25% and the publisher gets 50%.
It's one of those writers' camps.
Yes, a writer's
as
camp.
they call them.
And
yes.
and all they would do was they would give us some beer. And
Right,
they would
yeah.
put us together with the
Oh, I
other
could do
writers.
that.
It's like Little Richard, a shiny penny for
Yeah.
every record sold.
Alanis Morissette was part of that group.
Wow.
Yeah, Mary Jo Eustace, as we mentioned.
Wow.
I didn't write with Mary Jo, by the way. I think I was going to maybe, but we were a very social group and we did shows together, and yeah, it was fun. But yeah, it seemed inequitable later on, even though none of those songs necessarily made a nickel. Like there weren't
Right.
any, none of the Alanis Morissette songs.
Yeah, like 50% of nothing is
But
still
what
nothing.
if they
Yeah.
had?
But what if they
You
had?
would not have been a happy fellow.
No, true. Yeah, so I was more happy in the failure, I guess.
All right, and you also came up recently because the bicycle mayor of Toronto came over. The bicycle mayor is a guy named Lanrick Bennett Jr.
I love Lanrick.
So he dropped your name like early on as
Really?
like an FOTM he had some dealings with. So what were your dealings with Lanrick Bennett Jr.?
Well, they were twofold, really. Lanrick is a wonderful guy who used to work at the was it North York Center of the Arts, the theater that does Broadway. I'm looking at David now for this Broadway shows and other concerts and stuff like that. It's off Mel Lastman Square.
I know it because that's where
yes, I know that
Jersey
theater,
Boys
yeah.
was running
Yeah,
for a long
and
time.
I saw Jersey
Yeah.
Boys there. Yeah,
Right.
so Lanrick used to book a music series there. And he worked there, I believe, and that's when I first met him. And he booked my band, the early version of my band, The Impossible Dream, there, and we played a show, and it was
Amazing.
great. He was a great guy, but then he ran for
City council,
and I had the very uncomfortable conversation where I had to say I wasn't going to be voting for him. I could have lied. But I wasn't going to be voting for him because I'd already thrown my lot in with Paula Fletcher, and I was playing shows for her,
Right.
like fundraisers and stuff like that. And I felt like I can't be a hypocrite and tell him and lie to him, even though he's a friend of mine. I think he would have been an amazing counselor.
It's so difficult to defeat an incumbent.
Yeah.
Like Paula won big time, as I recall, in that election. But the funny thing, we were talking a lot about this. So FOTMs went 3 for 3 in the recent elections. So
I saw that.
I know I'm sort of a kingmaker now.
Yeah.
Just want you to know.
It's kind of like if you lived in Florida, it would be really difficult to choose between Trump and DeSantis, right?
Yeah. It's so much like that. Yeah.
and Blair's such a big backer of both.
Of both. It's identical to that. And I just want to put in a good word. I would like to be mayor, Toronto Mike.
Oh, are you going to run?
Yeah. Well, if
No,
if
he just wants to be
Toronto-
appointed.
If Toronto Mike will back me, I think I will.
You never know what the future holds, Blair. But so Amber Morley is this ward you're in now is Ward 3, and Amber Morley was trying to defeat an incumbent, and I had her on the show, and I rooted for her and all. And she came to TMLXX. She might have seen
I did. Yeah.
Blair Packham perform, and she actually won the Canna Cabana prize pack, which I thought was wild because she won the Canna Cabana prize pack for best mind blow story, and then she won the city council. There's only 25 of those things now,
Yeah.
and she's a city councilor, and she's like, she's there, FOTM Amber
Good for
Morley.
her.
So there you go. But yeah, Lanrick, it's tough to defeat these incumbents.
Yeah, but what a great guy, and what a smart guy, and
Oh, yeah.
ethical. Yeah, he's just he's got a lot of great qualities, and his relationship with his kids is very inspiring. And yeah, I love that.
And he's
guy.
visited every library in the city.
That doesn't surprise me.
Who can
at
say
all.
that?
Yeah, not me. Yeah,
Not
that
me.
doesn't surprise me about him.
There's
though.
lots.
Yeah.
By the way, quick. This is apropos of nothing except that just yesterday I needed a new bike lock, and I went to Skis and Bikes on Dundas because I knew they had this kryptonite lock on sale, and I wanted to buy it. So I go into Skis and Bikes. Nothing bikes on Skis and Bikes. I forgot it was November because I was in my shorts. Like it felt like it was a summer ride, and it was November, of course. It's all skis at Skis and Bikes. And I said, I want to buy a bike lock. Where's the bike locks? And they said it's in the warehouse. They said you have to order it online and then do curbside pickup because it's all skis. And then I said, where is this warehouse? And they said, oh, it's downstairs or something. And I said, well, I said to the lady, I said, could I go down there and get my bike lock? And anyway, long story short is they did eventually get a young lady to go down and bring me the lock I wanted, and I didn't have to order it online and do curbside pickup. Like I was in the store. It was all bikes. All right, all skis, no bikes at Skis and Bikes. Here's my story.
It's a good story. Do you remember? Do you remember?
It's a great story.
Do you remember the commercial?
I work at Candles and Such.
That's right. Yeah, David's got a story. Well, wait, I've got a story. I like soup.
Soup is not a meal, Jerry.
That's my story. Do you remember the jingle for Skis and Bikes?
Skis and bikes. No,
Yeah,
no,
but that's Fabricland, isn't it?
Fabricland.
That's what I was thinking.
That is
of too.
Fabricland.
Yeah, but that's what I thought. It must have been similar
Something
to
that
that.
skis and bikes. Oh man, I don't know. I almost I need to give a story while I look it up.
Let's write it right now.
Well, no, but the funny thing is that Mike thought of Fabricland, and so did I. So I wanted to do that. Skis and bikes. Skis and bikes.
If you want to ride a bike and you want to wear skis,
That's right.
you got to come down to Skis and Bikes.
I did a jingle for a marina in Muskoka. Would you like to hear it?
Yes, please.
lay it
Yes,
on
please.
us.
Summer after summer, season after season, 4 generations, and you are the reason we spent 50 years building a dream at Buckeye Marine.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good. That's good.
And the guy that I wrote it with, his ex-wife was named Maureen, and I started singing Buckeye Maureen, which wasn't so
Wasn't the best.
complimentary to. Well, he didn't mind because it was his ex-wife. So
Right,
yeah.
right.
But still, it's not so nice. She was a nice woman. It was just that it fit. That's
I
all.
can't find the Skis and Bikes jingle. Where's Retro Ontario when I need him?
Exactly.
Put up the. He's an FOTM Hall of Famer, and Blair, if you keep at this trajectory,
pace. Yeah, it'll be
by 2026, you could be in there too.
2026. That's even shorter than I thought. I thought it would be longer. I want the medal. I want whatever Weisblot got.
Okay, we're gonna get to Weisblot, but first I want to tell people that this is not the first time that Blair Packham and David Quinton Steinberg have been on Toronto Mike as a dynamic duo. You guys were here in June. So here we are, November. You guys were here. What's that? How many months ago is that? I should know that. 5 months? 6 months? 6 months?
David's got it on his
6
fingers.
months.
Yeah.
I got it on my fingers.
So
Yeah.
6 months ago yesterday. Wow. Okay. So here's what I wrote at the time if people want to go back and hear more. In this 1062nd episode of Toronto Mike, Mike chats with David Quinton Steinberg about his years in the mods, recording with Stiv Bators, playing with the Jitters, becoming an entertainment lawyer, working with Rush, and recording Western Sunset with Alex Lifeson, an envy of none in memory of Neil Peart. Blair Packham co-hosts.
Yeah. Well, I really felt strongly that this was David's moment. So I
receded into the background.
I was about to say I receded into the background, but this show, baby, I'm taking it back.
Okay, since I said those magic words.
He's right in our face today. It's not even to be believed.
I do
Take back the night,
I do
Blair
love that you
Packham.
use that phrase when you're talking
Because
about
it's so
Mark.
true. Can I tell you? Okay,
Yeah.
and I know he's actually watching live. So,
Oh, there you go.
but
Hi,
I mean,
Mark.
I'd say it to his face. So he sits where David is.
Okay.
The camera can't be on him. We
Okay.
live stream it at live.torontomike.com.
Okay.
So this camera's on me.
Yeah.
That guy's not on.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Because he doesn't want the camera on him,
Okay.
which is fine.
Fair
But we can
enough.
hear
Yeah.
him live.
Yeah. Oh, you can hear him.
You can hear him. and he'll talk about something, and I might have something to say. So once in a while, I'll do like a finger thing like this, and I'll get closer to the mic. Like clearly I have something to say, but he kind of ignores that. And then I might even start to say it, and I might get it like a syllable in, and I'll realize, oh, he's not like letting me in. It's like you're trying to merge into traffic, like on a highway or whatever. So I'm like, oh, and I'll back off because I don't want to be talking over the guy. Once in a while, if I have a really strong point I'm really passionate about, I might try to drive it through, but I realize within 5 or 6 syllables that he's not gonna. I'm gonna just talk over him, and it's gonna sound terrible for a listener or whatever. And I'll just recede into the background and let him go till he's finished. And that might be 3 minutes, it might be 5 minutes, it might be 6 minutes. And this is the only kind of Toronto Mic'd episode where that's the case. And I'm just kind of used to it now. But yeah, your words, Blair, recede into the background are like always in my mind. Like, oh yeah, this is the once a month, the first Thursday of the month. Now it's time for me to recede into the background of my own podcast, and I'm fine with it because he's so amazing.
He brings the goods.
He's amazing.
There's
So
no doubt. Yeah.
Blair, this is your opportunity, and I'm gonna
What, to make up with
I'm
him?
going to assume you already did that, didn't you?
Well, I did. I definitely did, except that I may have offended Mark again, and I hope I haven't. But we were supposed to go for a beer, and then my life got complicated, as lives do. And I would still like to if he's still up for it. So I'll send him a number,
Well, maybe
give him a call.
so many places. So David, you need to recede into the. We got to get you into the background here because.
Yeah, for once,
I have
stop talking,
questions.
David.
For once, no, I'm trying to give you guys your airspace.
What happened? I saw, Blair, that you and Mark Weisblatt had a conversation at TMLXX.
Yeah.
What can you share with the FOTMs about that conversation?
Oh, well, he reaffirmed a number of times that we're not the same age. That was important to Mark, I think, to get across.
How old is he?
I think he's
70?
maybe
I have a guess.
59, 60, something
So not
like
in his
that.
70s.
No, him?
He's
I'm totally joking.
He's joking.
He's
He's
10
like
years,
51.
Yeah, he's
51.
10 or 11 years younger than me.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, got it.
There, I said it. Okay, fine, Mark. You know, but I did for a brief moment. I thought that we were at U of T Radio together. I was actually there when it was called U of T Radio rather than whatever it ended up being called. And but he was there, but 10 years after me.
Got it.
Yeah, and
you were like a DJ there?
I was a DJ there.
Okay.
I was Canada's youngest DJ briefly
Wow.
until Kevin Nelson showed up. Jay Nelson's son.
He was like 11 or
He was
something?
13. I was
13.
14. Yeah.
Okay.
And he came in and he talked like this. He was 13 years old and he talked like this. Kevin Nelson, going to be with you till around 20 minutes past 8 o'clock.
And sadly, right, shout out to Ridley Funeral Home, but he passed away at a very young age, right?
He did, and he was one of Sharon Taylor's best friends.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's
and
sad.
she's still saddened when she talks of him.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Sharon. Sorry for your loss. That's awful news. But when you were at that U of T Radio, did you also cross paths with the only FOTM to pass away, Andrew Crystal?
Oh yeah, very much so. Andrew Crystal and I had a checkered history together.
How much? Like I know a lot, but I never
do,
put it in public. But is there anything on that note you'd put in public? I'm not asking. Like,
Well, I don't want to defame a guy who's passed on. He was an odd fellow, and so I won't defame him, but I will say this: he harassed me for about a year and a month.
that's not defaming him at all.
Well, it's a fact. There are witnesses and so forth. Anyway, I don't mean to
Well,
defame
you
him.
wouldn't say
But the
it
thing
was
is,
a fact.
no, and I don't want to go into details, but it was an uncomfortable relationship, I would say. Let's put it that way. And but I didn't really know him well after that period. The last time I saw him in person was probably, it was probably 1989 or 90, something like that. And before that, it was in the early 80s that I knew him, late 70s even. So I really didn't know him that well ultimately, but we had some uncomfortable dealings. Let's put it that way.
Well, 1,146 episodes. He's the only one no longer with us, and that's a pretty good record. So
Yeah,
you're in
not
good
bad.
stead.
Hey, I'm feeling good.
David, you're gonna live a long time,
yes,
man.
thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
I think Brian McFarlane, when I had him on, he was 89. I think he's still going for a 5K run every day. So-
Brian's a great guy. I know Brian.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he is a great guy. And I think he might have just like wrote a book, like a memoir or something. He's got great stories.
Yeah. Oh boy, does he ever. I was actually
Peter Puck and
I was actually at his 50th wedding anniversary.
oh wow.
Wow.
And it was fascinating because all these old hockey players were there. And I looked around the room and it was like the 67 Stanley Cup
Wow.
room. There were Montreal Canadiens players there, Toronto Maple Leaf players there. I sat with my wife, with Bobby Baun, Johnny Bauer, Carl Brewer's widow, and Red Kelly
Wow.
at the same table that night. I
Wow.
remember it. It was many years ago. It was really cool.
I dated a woman who looked like Punch Imlach. but that's a different story. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. What was this? I'm trying to remember now. His dad wrote the Hardy Boys. Is that the one?
Yes,
is that the
his
right
father.
story?
His father was a work for hire writer on the Hardy Boys.
Wow.
He wrote a lot of those books.
Isn't that a fun fact, Blair? That's a fun fact.
That
right?
really is. I had
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
The stories, the things you learn by having conversations with
But
these
they would
people.
pay them a small amount of money, and they would
write the
literally
story, yeah.
ghostwrite them, and
Right.
that would be that. Yeah.
Wild. So that is to say, David, you will live a very long time.
Thank you. I'm looking
So,
forward.
but
to
I need
it.
to get back now. Blair, I got to get back on track because he was about to reveal what else transpired at TMLXX when he and Mark Weisblatt had that
Oh.
summit.
Well, we just had a nice conversation. It was great. It was.
You were going to go for a beer, and then you had personal, I don't know, stuff happening in your life. And
yeah, just life got in the way. That's all. Nothing major. But I always meant to get back to him and arrange time, and because he'd left the ball in my court, and never got around to it.
But you've been listening.
Religiously. I really enjoy his appearances on Toronto Mike. I like that he calls you Toronto Mike during the show. That's how he addresses you. It's the brand. He sticks
It's respectful.
He sticks with the identity. Even though you've known each other a long, long time, he doesn't just call you Mike.
He's Toronto Mike.
Yeah, and I like that. And I liked in this last episode how he was sort of petulant at the beginning because you were trying to get to the, you didn't get to the 1236, the latest developments in the 1236 thing, either fast enough or slow enough. I can't remember what it was, but he was sitting there, like annoyed with you because you didn't mention it in your intro.
Oh, he likes to be introduced as an FOTM Hall of Famer.
Oh, that's right.
And
I
forget, so I always do forget to put that in the notes.
Right. There was that, but also the 1236 thing because he had an announcement to make, as I recall.
Well, I did need that was the first month in a long time we did not receive a single issue of the 1236 newsletter. Like at 12:36 p.m., we're supposed to get a newsletter from this gentleman, and throughout October that did not happen.
And he was sleeping in or something.
I don't know. He said he was working on other things and he's kind of planning his next move. Did you think, again, pretend he's not listening.
Yeah.
When you listened to his last episode, because I got a couple of notes from people who said they thought Mark Weisblatt sounded a little bit sad. Did you think he sounded sad, or what's your thoughts on that?
Candidly and sincerely, I thought maybe, yeah. I
heard it from a lot of people.
It actually did occur to me, and I don't know if that's true, and he may object, and who knows, we may hear a whole episode about me. And Blair Packham says, that's my impression, and I'm not going to do it anymore, Mark.
I'd really like to meet this guy.
We can arrange that.
He's a real character, and I don't know him very well, but he seems like a great guy.
Yeah, I'd like to meet
him.
You?
Okay, I know you don't want to do another Weisblatt impression, but can you do an impression of Mark Weisblatt doing Arlene Bynon?
Oh, I forgot how that went. Actually, Arlene. Oh. He said she was. He described her as always really nice, but that's all I remember. Yeah, no. So the short answer is no.
No.
Yeah.
I had a note.
Yeah.
I think you might have even texted me.
I think I might have saying that I would do that. Yeah.
Remind me to do an impression of Mark Weisblatt doing Arlene Bynon, and I literally took a note because that was very exciting to me. And now you're like,
I'm bailing. Yeah, no, but I've forgotten.
Maybe David can do one.
I don't know either of these people, so I think it would be a really bad impression.
Arlene Bynon, though, did he not do an impression himself?
Yeah, he did. He did a lengthy one.
And she was so. I think he said she was sort of fake nice or something. He qualified the niceness.
A little pretentious and a little
like that actress thing I was talking about earlier.
Oh yeah, tell us about the actress thing.
So when David, before he pressed record.
Yeah. So when David meets an actress, this is what happens.
Well, it doesn't always happen, but I'm talking more like 40 years ago. Okay. We would be at parties, musicians, actors. And someone would say, always a little bit of tension, I found, between the actors and the musicians. So you get introduced to an actress.
Yes.
And it's like, this is my friend, David Steinberg. And they look at you and they put one foot out and they go, hello, David Steinberg.
I can picture it. I can absolutely picture it.
Like the ballerina pose, the one foot goes out.
Yes.
And right.
The plie.
Yes, that's what it's
called. I have important context to add to the Arlene Bynon imitation that Mark Weisblatt was doing. And this is courtesy of Mark himself, who's watching live at live.torontomike.com.
Okay.
He just wants me to point out that imitation was because Roz Weston was trashing Arlene Bynon in his book.
Yes.
So there's a little context as to why Mark Weisblatt was breaking into an Arlene Bynon imitation.
I have to say, it's not like I heard him break into that impression on a regular basis.
No, that was definitely he did a very lengthy and thorough review of. There's a lot of questions for you, Blair, and I'll save them, but there's questions for you about
about what?
About music. And stuff.
That I can answer. Yeah,
it's all good.
Okay.
I wanted to say to you both that you are invited to TMLX 11, which is on December 3rd. So, David, I don't know if you're around December 3rd. It's a Saturday. It's at noon. It's at Palma's Kitchen.
Oh,
Palma Pasta's HQ, if you will, in Mississauga. They will feed us. I'm going to meet up with Great Lakes and make sure they give us more beverages to enjoy, more IPAs, and stickeru.com hopefully has some stickers for everybody, and we're all going to have a good time.
and I would like to actually meet and be introduced to, not in that order, the opposite order. I'd like to be introduced to and meet Mrs. Toronto Mike. Because,
she's upstairs. You want me to bring her? Before
no,
you
I was
leave
thinking
today?
you could wait till December 3rd, but sure.
I don't know if she'll show up. But even before you leave today,
Okay,
I
that'd be
can you get to meet. Yeah,
The
absolutely.
famous Monica.
The famous Monica. She's
right.
to prove she's real.
Yes,
Her name is Monica Mike.
It's like, it's just me doing an impression like this. I missed him again. That was Polkaroo. You guys are too old for Polkaroo.
What about Bazooka Joe?
I ate, but yeah, there was comics in the Bazooka Joe gums.
That's right. But I think the person posing the question to Bazooka Joe, the guy with the sweater on his face, right, the turtleneck that was pulled up, I think his name was Mort.
Mort, I think
Yeah.
that is right.
Yeah. Mort asked the questions. Hey, Bazooka Joe! I always imagine, hey, Bazooka Joe!
Did you guys are again older than me and older
thanks.
than Wise Blood? But I'm
Yes,
just wondering
yes.
because I just watched a documentary on
Older.
HBO that was all about the origin of Sesame Street, and
Oh, yeah.
so Sesame Street shows up in '69.
Yes.
And it's just in time to be like everything to me. Okay, so like I mean, I was a big Sesame Street viewer as a toddler and a young boy, and I loved when Buffy St. Marie would show up, and it was a big deal. You know, nobody could, only Big Bird could see Snuffleupagus, and then he would tell the adults that Snuffleupagus was here, and the adults would think he was bullshitting them. It was like,
I think that's what he said, in fact. Bullshit! That's what he said.
I remember when
Bullshit.
Sesame Street came out, and I felt I was too old for it.
Yeah, me too.
And I was like, I think I would have been like 8.
Yeah, I was 10.
And
Yeah.
if
that'd be
nothing
too
else
old,
was
maybe.
on, if
Yeah.
nothing else was on, I might watch like Grover for a couple of minutes,
Right.
or that Oscar, the
See,
Grouch.
these
for a
things
couple
are so
minutes.
like specific. Like, and if you're off by 1 or 2 years, it doesn't hit.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
noticed in this show, like there's this, Gen X contingent where it's like they're, like with Retro Ontario, and we're all growing up watching like Polka Dot Door, and then it's TVO is breaking into Doctor Who, and we're all getting traumatized. Like there's this shared experience. But if you're just a little bit off, like it doesn't hit at all.
It doesn't. No, true.
No.
True.
Like for us,
That's my excuse with the jitters, by the way. Just, everyone, it turns out, is just a little off from. It's not the band. It's
For us, it was Commander Tom after school on and Rocket Ship 7 on Saturday morning,
Okay.
and then we would watch Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Hour at 5 p.m. on
Yep.
Saturday.
Flintstones
That's what
at
we
noon.
did.
Yeah.
What's funny,
Flintstones was on
because so
at noon.
Commander Tom for me in my cohort was a Sunday thing. So Sunday mornings, where it was like a wasteland, because I guess religious programming everywhere, it was terrible. Like the cartoons weren't on. But whatever that was, whatever that Buffalo station was that had
WKBR. No,
WIVB or something, or
Oh, it became that.
Okay.
That was Channel 4. IV stood for
right.
It was Channel 7. It was because
Channel
the
7,
show. The show was Rocket Ship 7, and that was
So-
in the mornings, and in the afternoons it was.
so I don't know
Tom.
what year it switches, but when
Yeah.
I was growing up, it was Sunday was Commander
Right.
Tom, Sunday
Right.
Oh,
morning.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember I had a meeting at Fisher Price in East Aurora many years ago, and I started talking about Cheektowaga
Yeah.
Right.
and Tonawanda,
And all the
and they
fires.
were like, "How do you know those places?" And I said, "Because in Toronto we had Buffalo TV,
Yeah.
so we
Irv Weinstein.
knew about all those." Yeah, Irv
Yeah.
Weinstein.
Do you know where your
Weinstein.
children are?
Yeah, and his anyway, his complexion. I was just going to say. He
Okay,
had a
crater
rough-
face.
It just-
That was a big Jesse and Jean bit, as I recall.
Yeah, he
Oh,
had
really?
an
Crater
interesting
face
thing
Einstein.
going on.
Yeah.
Interesting thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like the guys.
Brian
in the Dead
Adams has
Boys.
that going on, and it could have worked.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
like,
a lot of people do.
I think it made him.
Yeah,
No,
it made you notice him.
I recorded Brian Adams many times at the El Macombo back in the day,
Right.
with Comfort Sound, Doug McClelland, who you should really have on this show.
I can't remember if I've ever. Were you going to hook me up with him? Like,
I'm
I'm game for the
sure I
good
said
con. I'm
I
into
asked
it.
him, and he said sure. So I said,
Hey, did I email him? I'm going
you
to
know
right
what?
now and check.
Maybe
it
you did, but Doug McClelland, he's got a million stories.
Well, he's walking
he was-
history.
He was at the Toronto
out. There he is.
Rock and Roll
Live
Revival.
wire remote. Hold on.
Yeah, he
Hold on. I have it real time here. So I wrote him on June 7th, the day after you guys were here.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
June 7th, and I hi, Doug. And there's a nice little spiel I gave him.
And he didn't reply?
I told him about how we talked about him of Captain Phil. Shout out to Captain Phil and Brother Bill. We talked about recording like the Tragically Hip and stuff at CFNY festivals. And you guys, he wrote back on the 7th of June.
Like same day. That's more like Doug.
Yeah, like he did the same day, and he was into it. And then I wrote him back. Oh my goodness! And I wrote a July date would be fab. Those are my exact words. And then it dies on the vine. I wonder how many great combos I missed out on because
He probably got busy.
I have to I'm gonna hold on. Just sitting with Blair. Hold on.
You don't need to say the last name.
And David. And
same thing. You don't need to
thinking we should finally make this magic happen.
Yep.
Done. Sent.
A million stories.
Getting business done tonight.
He was at the Toronto Rock and Roll Revival where John Lennon played his first show outside of the Beatles with Eric Clapton on guitar. And
he saw Led Zeppelin at the O'Keefe Center.
He saw Led Zeppelin at the O'Keefe Center, but also at the Rock Pile.
Oh, at the Rock Pile. Sorry,
both. But the Masonic Temple. He was there. He saw Jimi Hendrix open for Herman's Hermits. I thought it was Herman's Hermits, but it might have been the Monkees.
Yeah, I think it's the Monkees.
Yeah, and he was at all these shows, but plus he's recorded everybody you can think of.
Yeah,
Well, look, I'm gonna make that happen. Okay?
Yeah, make that happen.
We're gonna talk. Maybe he can do a Wise Blood impression for me.
Ask him about the Scorsese. Sorry, I should have laughed at that. That
SCTV doc?
Yeah, the SCTV doc, because I believe he's allowed to talk about that now.
Oh, dude, that's gonna be the whole 90 minutes. Are you kidding me? As you heard the Dave Thomas episode, right?
I did. Yeah.
So,
lots
sounds
to
like
talk about there.
Bunch of stuff we got to talk about there. Where else I want to go? The kids were not in school today. My two youngest that you guys met earlier, because there was no school today because there was a QP strike. But apparently they're back in school tomorrow.
Yeah,
because everything's gotten back to normal. Everything's fine now.
I saw the rather strange press conference talking about them going back tomorrow.
Yeah,
they are going back tomorrow.
He was squirming a little bit. Premier Ford,
shocked.
Yeah. Shocked that people would have a problem with any of this, I think. Yeah. The notwithstanding clause.
Right.
And so forth. I have opinions on this, but they're not that radical, I don't think.
Well, share your opinion. I'm of the opinion that if the Green Belt had a union, we might have a chance there.
Yeah. Well, there's so many things. I mean, to me, sorry, folks, the conservative playbook is to tear everything down, make it work badly, and then say, well, we got to scrap it.
Right.
And, coming up next, the healthcare system. And it's because people didn't vote. The lowest voter turnout in the last provincial election, I believe, ever. And that's what happens.
Yeah, if there was somebody to inspire people to come out and vote against Doug.
Agreed. There was
Stephen Del Duca is an FOTM, but I don't think he was inspiring anyone to get out and vote, except for us guys who vote every time anyways.
Yeah, no, agreed. And Ford is such a natural lightning rod for publicity that even when he goes to the cottage for 3 months at a time, that it's hard to beat that, So I get it, but I don't like it.
No, sir. Okay. I want to share it with everybody. So I had this is kind of a lot of house keeping stuff, and then we're going to talk about whatever, and you guys are going to play live, which I'm very excited about, and then I have some some recorded music to play and talk about, but I've been getting a lot of feedback lately regarding the Steve Simmons episode of Toronto Mic'd. I think it was last week. Yeah, aired last Monday, I think. Recorded last Monday, and it seems like all the feedback's falling into one of two buckets. Bucket one is... that was a great episode. You're the best interviewer in the history of the world. Okay, that's a bucket. Things falling.
That's a good bucket.
Good one.
Yeah.
Second bucket is like, I will never listen to this episode, and you should fry in hell for having him on. He's a horrible racist person. And so these are the two buckets, and everything's falling there. But the reaction's been amazing, and those who have listened seem to have kind things to say about it. And I just wanted to share that with the FOTF.
Okay, so I'm ignorant. I don't know who that is.
He's a sports writer for the Toronto Sun.
And has he been controversial with his opinions?
Yes.
Okay, and where do you land on? Because I don't know him at all. Anytime Toronto Mike does a sports thing, I'm like, I don't know what that is.
When Pachan told me he loves all episodes except for CFNY episodes, and if Pachan, because I do the quite a few CFNY kind of centric things.
Yeah.
And he says if it's a CFNY episode, he passes. Like that's the only episode of Toronto Mike apparently he's passing on, or anything the CFNY episodes, which I'm like, that's cool, like whatever. But David Quinton Steinberg, firstly I want to know, like, what kind of sports fan are you? Like, are you a casual fan or a big fan? What are you a fan of? And what can you share with Blair about the controversial Steve Simmons?
Well, I tend to watch sports when something exciting is happening. So like if the Toronto Blue Jays were going deep into the playoffs, I'd start watching. I'm mostly a hockey guy. I don't watch every game. My kid will tell me what's going on.
82 of them.
Yeah, it's a lot. And once in a while I'll go to a game and I'll watch those very effective 8.5 minute encapsulations of games. Like I was doing that last night. I watched the Leafs and the Bruins in 8 minutes, saw who scored, that sort of thing.
You see everything worthwhile in those. You know, you just don't see it live.
Yeah. I mean, as far as Steve Simmons goes, I think that he is the kind of writer who likes to stir up controversy, and I think he enjoys saying things that are going to stir the pot.
Right.
So, basically what he said, I don't know, maybe you want to encapsulate
this
it,
is
Toronto Mike.
the Akeem Alou comments. He basically said, Akeem Alou is doing ads right now that are sort of like, I guess they're for a bank, but they're about how we need more diversity in hockey. I think that's the spirit of these ads.
Yeah.
Akeem Alou, by the way, is a black man who played professional hockey.
Okay.
And he's had experience. He's gone public with racism he experienced in the sport of hockey. So I think the Simmons would basically, something very short little note thing. He would say, I wonder, like the coaches he's had over the years on his like 12 leagues and 18 teams over 12 years or whatever, it must be, I don't know what his terminology was. Were they cringing when they see that ad, or were they wincing when they see that ad? Like, and don't say it's because of race, because Wayne Simmons has been playing, had a steady, stable career for that same stretch of period. And Wayne Simmons is another black NHL.
He name checked some other black NHL
Wayne
players
Simmons, who plays for the Leafs,
who
right
hadn't, who played the National Hockey League.
Yeah.
And I think he was kind of saying that this gentleman was using it as an explanation or an excuse, the racism, as to why he couldn't move up the ladder. So he was saying, well, why? This guy moved up the ladder. I'm going to tell you, I thought it was horrible, and I'll tell you why I think it's horrible.
Tell me.
You cannot comment on the racism that any particular individual experiences because it's their individual experience. It doesn't matter if someone else didn't experience it. It matters if that particular person experienced it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I did not like the article, and I thought it was awful. I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to say, don't blame everything on racism. Maybe it's your skill and your ability if it wasn't there. But that's not the point. The point is that this guy is talking about his individual experiences. Mm-hmm. And racism in hockey, heaven forfend.
Yeah,
I
really.
cannot imagine
Shocking.
that ever happening.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Even I, the not even a casual fan, I can see it.
Well, I will tell you, when my kids played, the amount of anti-Semitism that they experienced when they were 14, 15, 16, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
It was like really intense. And of course, like a lot of racism on the ice, or, anti-gay comments or whatever on the ice, you call the ref over, because I was coaching a lot in those days. You call the ref over and you say, listen, this is happening. And the refs will often say, I didn't hear it. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. I didn't hear it. So, what I used to do as a coach is I would say, well, would you go please talk to the coach on the other team and tell him it's number 19, number 16, and number 14. They keep doing this. Just talk to them. And, often that could be effective.
Right. Yeah.
But there's a lot of bad stuff on the ice, I think.
Yeah. I'm not at all surprised to hear that. When I asked Steve, we went, toe to toe for over 2 hours, and I asked him, I said, like, who are we as two white men? Who are we to, like, how the hell do we know what racism that Akeem Alou experienced? Like how could we ever know that? And he did what he did I didn't like, which was he pulled this. If you knew what I knew, you'd understand.
No.
You heard? You should hear this.
Please.
You should hear this.
Give me a break.
This is what we got from. And I'm
Give
like,
me a break.
Right.
You know what? It's almost like saying, well, Sheldon Kennedy did not have a storied NHL career. Theoren Fleury did so much better.
Right.
And Theoren Fleury was sexually abused by Graham James, just like Sheldon Kennedy. So it must be a skill problem. Are you crazy? It's each person suffered the abuse in their own way,
right.
internalized it and dealt with it in their own way. You can never comment on what the individual has experienced. Sorry to rant, but that's how I feel.
I agree with you. The other thing too is assuming that somebody is saying like blaming the racism for why they didn't get farther ahead, when they may just be blaming the racism. They may just be talking about that racism. In other words, not saying, and that's why I didn't, get farther or whatever. Like, it's the assumption that that's what they're talking about. They're not talking about that. They're talking about their experience.
That's right. And the way it impacted them.
Yeah.
Which could be on many different levels in many different ways, some of which you probably can't even describe when you're the victim of that. Yeah.
Well, I can't imagine from my perspective. I can't imagine. I have no idea. And I do know that if you want to bring it back to a musical lens here, I can tell you that Steve Simmons is the cousin of Stephen Page.
No kidding. Isn't that funny? I had a text exchange with Stephen Page tonight. I'm going to share it with you guys. If
you saw Steve Simmons, Blair, you'd see that there might even be a similarity in the way they look, kind of.
Oh, okay, cool. So I received. So I sent a note to Stephen this afternoon saying, forgot to send this to you when I got it a while back. It was on Instagram. I got a note on Instagram, a DM. Hello, am Steve Page, close crew member. Thanks so much for being one of our fans. He will also like to know more about you, and you are very lucky for me to take time out of my time to message you. So I wrote to Stephen and I said, if you really like to know more about me, please just ask. And then I said, I realize I am very lucky for her to take out of their time to message me, but, and he said, you really are lucky. When they say close crew member, they mean monitor engineer. He wants to talk about graphic EQs with you. I asked him to get your opinion on the Clark Technic stuff. He's talking about a famous graphic EQ. So
Steven's great.
He is great.
You could have replied and said, yeah, I was backup for if I had $1 million.
You may remember
I'm
me.
in the chorus.
Yeah.
Hugely talented and good guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
What a fantastic guy.
All right, more housekeeping. This is the first time, I think, on Toronto Mike that this has been mentioned, but Cam Gordon, a regular on this program. In fact, he's also an FOTM Hall of Famer. He's got the most appearances outside of yours truly on Toronto Mike. This Cam Gordon. Forever, I've been sort of, introducing him. Cam Gordon, Director of Communications at Twitter Canada. Well, I have to change that introduction because Cam Gordon was musked.
Oh.
So Elon Musk reducing the payroll there, chopping, I don't know, like about 50% of the staffers. Cam got caught up in that. So I was at Stu Stone's new movie Bandits Thursday night, which was great. And I think maybe only a couple hours later, he got the email that his services are no longer required. So
it's a shame.
It is a shame.
It's
but
a real shame.
What do you think? I'm a prolific tweeter, and Blair, I see you on Twitter. I don't see you, David. You don't tweet, right?
No, I don't.
I can't even find you on there. So
there were so many fire hydrants to pee on. I just chose a couple, and
where are you peeing? Like, tell me.
Instagram and Facebook.
Okay,
Facebook for the old people, and
a meta man.
And Instagram for the slightly less old people.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I use Instagram once in a while, and mostly I like to read what other people are posting and doing, and Facebook once in a while. Not as much. But I find that there's so much, it's trite and contrived to say, but I find that there's so much negative, horrible stuff on these platforms.
Well, it depends who you follow.
Yeah, that's what I find with Twitter, because people, I listen to Jon Stewart's podcast, The Problem with Jon Stewart, which is really great. And he talked about Twitter being a cesspool of hatred and so forth. And I thought, I don't find it that way for me.
No,
but,
me neither.
but it really depends on who you follow.
It depends, right?
Yeah,
And what
and-
seeps in.
Yeah, and I admit that I'm a little siloed because I do follow people who I like and whose opinions I tend
Sure.
to agree with.
Liz Braun. I'm shouting out Liz Braun because I followed her since she came on.
That was so random. Yeah.
I'm still
Frank
just,
Zappa,
I really.
Ken
Franklin-
Hensley, and Mick Box from
Franklin-
Uriah Heep.
Delano Roosevelt. Wait, Mick Box from
Liz Braun is still
Mick
alive.
Box.
Yeah.
Mick Box, the only human being who is as tall as he is wide.
Wow, so he's a box.
He's a box. Mick
Wow.
Box, man.
Mott the Hoople. I don't know.
All the
Yeah.
Liz Braun, I enjoyed your talk with her so much. She seemed very lovely.
Like you would
actually.
never imagine she wrote for the Toronto Sun.
Well, I have a bias about the Sun, but I got to say, Mary Dickey, who was music critic there for years, is a friend of mine, and I love Mary,
Okay.
and she's fantastic. So
Shout out to Mary Dickey.
Mary Dickey. Who else wrote for the Sun? Who I love as well. There's a few, but they're not there anymore.
There's a bit of there's the guy who wrote about pop culture stuff there forever. and he-
Wilder Penfield III.
No, after him. But anyway, he sends me the odd notes. I don't know why I'm stumbling with his name. I almost called him the Duffer, but he's not the Duffer. But it'll come to me. Okay,
Not
so
Gary Dunford.
yes, Gary
Yeah,
Dunford. Well, I
yeah.
become the Duffer. He's done the Dump. Okay,
Yeah,
so Gary
the Dump.
Dunford. He
Yeah.
also likes the Mark Weisblot appearances, and I used to get notes from him after those
Oh,
episodes.
nice. He seems. I don't think I ever met him, but he seems like a nice fellow.
The most like today I tweeted on so I was gonna ask you more about Twitter there, Blair, but I was on Twitter today and I just tweeted my butter tarts include raisins. That's true. I like raisins in my butter tarts.
Me too. I like pecans and I like them plain, and I like them with the bottom kind of crust crunchy and the liquid just flowing.
Yes, but
so
only
do
if the liquid can flow if there's raisins in there.
Well, okay. My ex-wife tainted that for me a little bit. Arlene Bishop, the great singer-songwriter Arlene Bishop.
You were married to Arlene Bishop.
I was. She described the raisins in butter tarts as flies.
No,
Yeah.
they're good.
David, what say you?
They're good.
Do your butter tarts include raisins?
100%.
So Monica, who you're
100%.
going to meet later.
Yeah. Yes.
No, raisins can go in anything, man.
Yes.
They
I like
can-
raisins too.
Yeah,
They're nature's
they can go in
candy.
anything.
Well, this
Yeah.
is why Arlene and I split.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Over
I
the
think that's where I'm
raisins.
heading.
Yeah.
That's where I'm
Over the
heading.
raisins.
It was
Because
the raisins.
Monica, so this is, Monica doesn't like raisins in her
Uh-oh.
butter tarts, and it actually, she's wonderful. But this might be a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
I'm not doing well with it at all.
You can only put up with so much.
Well, the people that hate raisins really hate them
Yeah.
too. It's like a big.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, like the people who hate cilantro. You know, that's a whole other
Or
world.
who hate broccoli.
Yeah.
You know, there's
I had
like-
broccoli tonight. Deal with it.
So did I. The hateables.
We are
HW
the
didn't
hateables.
like
We are
them,
the
right?
hateables. Edibacoke.
This is the. Oh yeah. David was telling me a story when we were talking on the phone coming out here. He what? Oh, he talked about an American guy that he heard an interview with.
No,
Yeah.
he had a meeting in Etobicoke, and he called me and he said, "Yeah, I've got a meeting in Etobicoke." You've probably heard this before.
No, but there was a documentary about the guy, some guy, terrible, killed a guy and like mailed his body parts to the prime minister or something. And
What?
Yeah, this is fairly recent. His name was Lucas
Canada
Magnotta.
Post?
Lucas
Right,
Magnotta.
Lucas
Oh, yeah.
Magnotta.
Does that matter?
Oh,
But they made a
yes.
documentary about him, and it was on Netflix or something called something about cats, because I guess he used to torture cats before he moved to humans.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, as one does. And then he, in that documentary, they talk about Etobicoke, and they pronounce it just like you did. Say it again.
Edibacoke.
Yeah, that's pronounced in the doc, and it kind of went locally viral. Like,
Oh,
listen
my
to how
God.
they're calling it.
Wow.
That's
I
funny,
didn't know that.
man.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so
Stiv.
yeah, let's listen for a moment, and then we'll talk to David about this.
But I can't waste my time. Make up your mind. Tonight I'm gonna try. I'm gonna ask questions right behind. Can't decide. Make up your mind.
Who's drumming on this track?
That would be me.
You, the guy in my basement right now, is drumming on this Stiv Bader's track.
And that's who's playing guitar.
Wow.
George.
Wow.
George passed away in 2020.
I know we covered a lot of the Stiv Bators ground last time you were here, but is there any? Do you have any stories you can share about playing with Stiv Bators? It'd be cool.
Well, since we're listening to this, we recorded this album, Disconnected, in September 1980 at Leon Russell's studio, Paradise Sound. And then part of it at a place called Perspective Sound, where they had basketball court. And we recorded a lot of the backing tracks on the basketball court. Wow. At Perspective Sound. That was really, really cool. It had this cavernous kind of natural reverb and everything. And and we slept all day and stayed up all night and when we were doing that record. And Stiv, you never knew exactly when he was going to show up or in what state he was going to show up or with whom.
Right.
You know, so it was always kind of a challenge with him.
What are we listening to, David?
That's one of my new songs. I've been recording an album over the last couple of years, actually.
Where do you find the time, though? You're a lawyer to the stars.
Well, when the plague came in, there was lots of time.
Right.
And I said to my wife one night, I can't just sit and watch Netflix. I'm going to kill myself. So I went down to the basement and started writing again. And I started these recordings with my lifelong friend, Anton Evans, who owns a wonderful recording studio in Bowmanville. And that's the two of us together.
Right? There's a zoo in Bowmanville.
There was.
Oh,
they
there was.
closed the zoo because of the abuse of the elephants. You might remember that
Bob Barker
story.
stepped in?
Yeah, they closed that zoo fast. Anyway, this is me and Anton only on this track. He's playing guitars and bass, and I'm playing piano and drums and singing and blah, blah.
Okay, let's listen a bit, and then I want Blair Packham's honest review here. Let's listen.
Yes, please.
Breaking news, I have a reply from Doug McClement. Hi, Mike. My schedule is a lot more open between now and the new year than it was in September and October. So I'm sure we can find a mutually convenient time slot.
That's awesome.
So this is going to happen. So I will mark it as unread so I get back to it later. But that's some exciting stuff. Now, Blair, in your honest opinion, is this a good jam or a piece of shit? Let's hear the real talk.
It's a 6 out of 10.
I was acting for the camera during the playback of that. I was stroking my beard, and pointing, and then touching my nose, and I was taking it in.
It's like jukebox church.
That's right. I like it because it's got a good beat and you can dance to it. No, I think it's brilliant and it's lovely, and I love David's voice. You know, David was in the Jitters for 100 years and on and off. And he didn't sing. We never heard him sing. So hearing him sing is always a joy, and it's fresh to me because it's a new voice. The drums sound fantastic. It's stuff that I couldn't write, and that's a good thing.
Who are the best singing drummers? Like, Levon Helm jumps
Don
in
Henley.
Mind.
Yeah,
Don Henley.
Gilmour from
Phil
Triumph.
Collins, I suppose, and Gilmour. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As much as
And
I love
Dave
Ringo,
Grohl, maybe.
Yeah, Dave Grohl. Yeah.
Dave Grohl.
Yeah. As much as I love Ringo, I would say not Ringo.
Mm-mm.
But he was in a band with some really pretty good singers.
So I hear.
You know who the greatest drumming singer was of all time is Andy Sturmer from Jellyfish.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
He's
I don't even know if I know this voice. Like,
he's
I'd
a
have to-
monster
Do you know Jellyfish?
singer.
I don't. That doesn't resonate.
I think
with me.
that's a band
Oh,
that would
boy.
you'd
I would
really
dig Jellyfish.
Yeah.
They
Oh my
they
God.
were incredible.
Yeah, they are.
They were
yeah.
incredible.
Messed up my life, blaming rock and roll. And Melody cried for thunder. I just kept thinking of her. Confusing lies, infusing rock and roll.
This sounds like it was recorded in the elephant cage at the Bowmanville Zoo.
With Bob Barker on backup vocals. I think I hear him
Oh
in
my
the mix
God!
there.
I can't believe I subjected myself
I
to that
meant it as a compliment, but
because it was a big sound.
it
The
was a
big elephant sound.
and the horns were, I love the horns. There aren't any horns.
But listen, lawyer by day and then by night, you're creating art. It's amazing. Good for you, buddy.
It is amazing.
And
Yeah.
how am I? I noticed it's credited to David Quinton. Like Steinberg gets tossed aside when you're rocking
Yeah,
out like this.
when I'm doing my own stuff. Yeah.
I need to ask you a question
For
Toronto-
continuity
Toronto Mike.
purposes.
Toronto Mike is here for you, Blair Packham.
Oh, what I did anyway. Just
I thought
'cause
it was
just
Toronto
'cause I-
Mickhead.
Yeah. Toronto
Once in a
Mick.
while, like somebody will write a nice thing, but they'll say Toronto Mike was MIC apostrophe
Yes.
D.
Yeah, no, that's the Irish.
I get a
version.
lot of it.
That's the Irish.
Like shite. Blair, I'm ready.
Okay.
Hit me, Van.
What was my question? Hold on, I had a question. Oh my God, it's absolutely.
It's gonna come
gone.
back to you. We're
Something
listening
to do with
Quinton.
Oh yes, did David Quinton
David Quinton.
tell us last time? I don't remember. Did David Quinton tell us the Japan story?
Yes.
Because I think
You
should,
don't remember.
I think you should tell it again.
Tell it
because it's a
again.
good
Greatest
one.
hits.
It's so good.
Give him the hit.
I love this story. David told me this story, and I was, and all I could think about was myself. So,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
was like, how can I do that? I want to do that. How can I do that? You know?
Give it to us, DQ.
Well, I in 2018, which seems like a million years ago now, I met some Japanese people and a club owner named Fifi, who owns a place called Poor Cow in Tokyo. And they're really big fans of that era, sort of 77 to 80 power pop and new wave. And they know all about Bomp Records, where, I was with Stiv, and Bomb Records, where I was in my solo stuff. So I went in there and I played some songs for them, just on piano. And there were a number of people there that knew the stuff, and it was just such an incredible experience. So I went back in 2019 and played a handful of shows with a band. This time we did Kyoto and Tokyo. And it was, again, a phenomenal experience. So much fun. And I want to go back and do it again.
The thing I want to emphasize in this story is that David hadn't played his own songs in years, in decades.
No, I hadn't.
And so it was a complete surprise that they were interested.
Yeah. I mean, they were, aware of an album that I had made 40 years before.
Yeah.
Which I thought was dead and buried and done, and that nobody
you're
in the
like
world
Sugar
knew
Man.
about it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, on a very tiny, tiny scale. Because it was not thousands of people.
Quinton, searching for DQS. I love it. I love that story. That's amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
the great thing about Poor Cow is if you have, 35 to 50 people in there, it's packed.
In
So
Japan?
it's very intimate. Yeah.
Oh, in the venue. I thought you meant in Japan.
Yeah, yeah. No, not in Japan
Okay.
proper,
Yeah.
but in the venue. So, You know how like when you play Sauce, you don't need a lot of people to fill that place. And Poor Cow is very similar to that.
I see.
You don't need a lot of people, and it's very intimate, and they're sitting right in front of you.
And they were very moved to see you.
Yeah.
There were people who had tears in their eyes. They
Wow.
were asking you to autograph the record from 1980.
Yeah, a lot of them had the vinyl albums and wanted me to sign them for them. It was surreal, man.
So
surreal.
I have a question. How do I get in on that?
Yeah, like where is there a part of the world where like they're
Where they do
worshiping
this?
this jam and
Yes.
it's like they have statues, they're like they all have the vinyl and they're like, where is this God?
I gotta.
Well, when we played the last show, the one that Geddy Lee was at, the
Geddy
Jitters.
Lee. Yes, the
Remember they
Jitters.
did the
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
Jitters show at
Yeah.
Hughes Room.
Yeah.
There was an Asian fellow there that had Jitters albums and was getting you guys to sign them.
And had come from somewhere in Asia. I'm not sure where he
Yes,
came
I
from.
can't remember what country.
But-
Country in Asia.
Came
Yeah.
as a fan
Yes.
to this show to Canada because so much music in Canada he loved. And when
Yes.
he saw the Jitters were playing, he came with his
It
albums.
wasn't the Philippines, was it? No.
I don't think so.
No, for some reason I think maybe Korea,
Korea or
yeah,
Taiwan, maybe.
maybe
I don't know.
Thailand. I can't remember which country he was
Yeah.
from, but
I forgot
yeah,
about
there's
that
an
guy.
example of it right there.
Okay.
And I think the interesting thing in Japan is there's a lot of subcultural music love there. You know, like there are people in Japan that love Southern rock and that love California soft rock and love punk. So, you know, there are people that have these interests and you don't know until you go or ask, you know?
Is David Quinton Steinberg on this jam right now that I'm listening to?
No, I'm not. You're going to bring that up. That's a sore spot. Is this the album version?
This is the album version.
Yeah, this was the David Quinton Steinberg being fired version.
Yeah.
I'm not on this.
We still haven't talked about it, so I guess we will tonight. It's an intervention. David and I, we have
Let's
to
just get it
repair.
out there. Like,
We have to repair our relationship.
and I have like flashbacks. I remember like your hand might be on the album
No,
cover.
I am on the album cover.
Yeah, you're on the album cover, right?
There's
With-
a
at the RC
yes.
Harris water
Yes.
treatment plant.
There's a picture of us,
his
Blair as the whole
huge-
story, and one of my hands
huge
came out very
arm.
large.
right,
I
the
don't
huge
know.
arm. I do remember this.
Yeah.
The conversation with the huge arm.
Yeah.
Why were you fired?
Well, I think it was multiple reasons. You really want to know, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. No,
This
it's
is the home
okay.
of real talk.
It's okay. I can do it now. It's like this. First of all, I was going to law school at the
In
time
London, Ontario.
in London, Ontario, and really.
Oh, you were late for everything.
And I was trying to juggle both
I
for
do-
a while.
You actually told us this. This did
But
get
that's not
explained.
the real,
Okay, let's hear the real reason.
That's only one of the reasons.
Okay.
The reason is the producer of the record, who really wanted to direct how it was going to be made.
He owned the studio and was giving us the recording time for free, so we kind of felt obligated to do it his way.
Do it his way, and I was not the right guy to play on this record, given the way he wanted to make the record. I mean, you can hear right there. I mean, Randy's playing it, right?
Yeah, Randy
So
Cook
Randy
is playing,
Cook.
and it's very of its time. It's very 80s. Everything it's very precise. The drumming is machine-like.
Yeah.
You know,
And I was not like that.
Yeah.
I was.
This is not you either.
he's not on this
oh,
record
no,
at
no,
all.
that's
you
not
can
me
go
at all.
through every song if you wish.
And
Mike.
I'm not on any of them. What are you trying to like? It's just more and more salt. Every song
Yeah.
is more
and
salt.
I suppose you're not on this one either.
So whenever somebody,
Surely you're on this.
whenever 8-year-old Jarvis comes up to me and goes, "Dad, the Jitters, one-hit wonders, right?" I always blast this song and I go,
Yeah.
"One-hit wonders?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
Get outta
Jarvis,
here.
go back to school.
Go back,
multiple,
educate yourself."
multiple hit wonders.
Yes.
So, in answer to the question, the producer did not want to use me on the record because I think I was too ragged and too
Too punk.
too rock and roll and all kinds of things like that. And he didn't want to make a record like that. So I was disinvited
And it was a sore spot between us for 3 years. And to David's credit, he became friends
See,
with me
you guys
again.
are like the Dean McDermott and Mary Jo Eustace of rock and roll.
And when I slept with David, it was a lot like when I slept with Mary Jo. Anyway, I didn't with either of them.
It's more like a Stevie Nicks, Lindsey
yes.
Buckingham kind of a thing.
David looks so amazing in those flowing dresses.
Blair, tell me though, where did this peak on 680 CFTR? Do you know?
Number 13, I think. I don't remember. But I can tell you this. Sharon Taylor, who I'm going to need...
Radio gal, your driver?
Sharon is watching on this. She just sent me a text saying, touch your nose. And then I did that. And then she said, take out your dick. So I'm
came up earlier today.
But I would say, Sharon, I need you to get here because I need to get home soon. So,
wear the little hat.
yeah.
You know?
This time, wear the hat. Yeah. No, but she would know, of course, because she was program director.
You know, she's wonderful.
Yeah.
And when she was at TMLXX, Larry Fedoruk was there, and Larry wrote me this nice note about, like, basically he was on the air at CFTR,
Yeah.
and how, like, there was a reunion, like, many decades in the working there that he got to see Sharon Taylor again at my event, and they got to have a nice conversation.
She was very happy to see Larry again and talk with him, and she felt it went really well because, you know, you work with people and who knows how it's going to be when you meet them 20 years later, you know? And she was happy to see him again too.
Larry has a great podcast on the TMDS network. One day there'll be a Blair Packham podcast on the
Yes.
TMDS network. Cross your fingers here.
Yeah. That'd be good.
See, I would have ruined this song.
The
It's a good jam.
Edmonton Oilers used
Well
this
done.
song in 1988 on their drive to the Stanley Cup that year.
I thought you were going to say that on their drive to the World Series.
I don't know the sports terminology, but all I know is every time they scored a goal, which they did many times, this would start playing.
Closer every
That's
day.
a good song for that.
Yeah,
Closer
totally.
to the cup.
Yep.
Wow. The Leafs should bring this back as their goal song. We're looking for like a new goal song. So.
The Leafs have had problems, you know, with the political correctness because they were using Gary Glitter, Rock and Roll Part 2 for years, and then they were using Marilyn Manson, Beautiful People for years. You got some they got to choose people that, you know.
That actually are not, Okay.
Oh, I don't have it all. I'm looking now at the file, and it's not going to give me everything, so don't get too excited over there. Or is this a short song?
5 minutes?
Okay, I don't have it. But the thing is, it fades down. So, like, I just converted a YouTube video to MP3. But the fact that fades down tells me that was just, like, on YouTube, that was just 40 seconds.
Some kind of
So there's a
teaser.
longer version.
But the video itself for Look Inside is on YouTube.
Okay, what's the Look Inside? Hold on.
Look Inside, Envy of None. And it's on all the DSPs.
All right, official video. Hold on, 5:15.
Official
Okay,
video.
Okay. Stand by, everybody.
There we go.
Stand by, everybody.
Now
Stand
you're
by the door.
talking.
Stand by the door.
And you play on this song,
Yes,
Mr. Steinberg. Okay.
I did, and I do.
You know, you mentioned Geddy Lee earlier, because now that we're talking about Alex Lifeson. And I'll just say, on this day, I do this thing on this day, and there's a guy named Ron Davis, who's a jazz musician
I know, Ron.
and also a lawyer.
Yeah.
So musician and lawyer, much like somebody else in this room.
Wow.
Yep.
And he told a great story about his mom would spend winters in Florida with a lady. They were both Jewish and friendly, and this lady would talk about her son was in a rock and roll band as well. And then he goes, "Who's your son? Your son?" And he goes, Geddy. Anyways, it turned out this was Geddy Lee's mom
Oh, yes.
that befriended Ron Davis's mom in Florida
Yeah.
during winters.
Oh, that's a nice story.
It is a nice story. And there's not a lot of musicians in this country who are lawyers, are there? Maybe there are.
There are some, yeah.
Oh, yeah? Was there like a club or something?
Well,
Facebook group?
there are a lot of them in California. My friend Jackie Fox was the bass player in the Runaways. She's a lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe I was wrong. Okay, so what's this woman's name who's singing?
that's Maya Wynn from Portland, Oregon, and she is absolutely brilliant.
And I'm now looking at her, which
Yes.
is something I can't see in an MP3, so this is even
No.
better here. Okay.
Have you ever seen this video?
No, I haven't. No. There it is.
She's rather fetching.
Nice.
Do people still say fetching?
They do in the 1920s.
I'm like Mr. Burns over here. Okay.
That's right. 23 Skidoo. She's rather fetching. Safwan Javed from Widemouth Mason is a lawyer.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
Keep a list over here.
Oh, so's
so,
the original drummer from Sparks.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
interesting.
Harvey. Can't remember his name.
Wow.
Interesting. And did you tell me last time how you hooked? I mean, you must have, but like, how do you end up in Alex Lifeson's new project, Envy of None?
Well, I'm friends with
You're his lawyer.
Alex. I'm Alex's lawyer, and I'm friends with Andy Curran.
Who's an FOTM? by
Yes,
the way.
he is.
Yeah.
And
Coney Hatch.
so, yeah, it was kind of like a little bit of a friend.
Don't you think Coney
You
Hatch
know,
should have been bigger?
inspired
Well,
project.
Coney Hatch should have been a bigger deal, right? Do you feel they were somehow like? I'm not saying they weren't a big deal.
Yes.
They were no jitters, but they should have been a bigger deal.
No jitters. Yeah, I do think they should have been. I mean, they came up at that time. They had a certain kind of a sound. They were loud. They had great songs. Carl was a great singer.
Carl is a great
Really wonderful voice. And yeah, they could have been much bigger, I think. I'll tell you something
Yeah.
funny. When I recorded this drum track, my inclination was to play very lightly. And it was Andy who said, "No, play like you're a stoned 16-year-old, loud. And then we're going to deal with it in the mix. But
Oh.
play like flat out cymbals and just loud." And that's what we ended up with.
Wow.
That was the
Wow.
concept.
It has that quality. Now that you mention it, it has that quality because
Yeah.
it's a little flaily and washy with the cymbals
Yeah.
and so forth, and yet it's a sort of a meditative track, really.
Yeah.
But it's like there's a drummer. It's like what was the Muppets? Bringing it full circle to the
Animal?
Muppets.
To
Animals
Animal,
sitting
yeah.
in the background there. Yeah.
The best, that Sesame Street documentary that you brought me back to now, like, I did not know how Jim Henson ended up on the project. Like, this project existed before Jim Henson was involved.
Oh.
And Jim Henson was doing like ads with Muppets. And they were like aimed at adults. Like, it wasn't a kids thing yet, Muppets. And then they had a meeting with Jim and they brought in the Muppets. The rest is history.
Right on.
It's quite a happening, man. Quite a perfect storm. Okay, it was really cool. You should check it out. But I have a question that's come in from a Cambrio on live.torontomike.com and wants to know, what is the first song that you, Blair Packham, learned on guitar?
Probably. Well, there's two of them that I would answer. When I was a little kid, and I really didn't consider myself even remotely a guitar player, I learned Pictures of Matchstick Men by Status Quo.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's one string. I'm going to play it for you right now.
Blair's getting his guitar.
Yeah, whoa. It's
You put a hole in my ceiling.
Yeah, your basement's a little small. Yeah, I broke my guitar, but never mind that. And that was the intro.
Okay, make it stop, please.
I love that song.
It's a great song, actually.
Status quo. Status quo.
Status
when
quo.
when the Jitters played Wembley Arena, Danny and I, the other guitar player, and I were both playing Telecaster style guitars, and we would do these moves where we'd move the neck, like rock and roll together, synchronized. And a guy came up to us after and said, "It's just like status quo. It was like the quo, the way you moved." And and Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden came up to me and poked me in the chest quite hard and said, "Now, am I allowed to swear? I can't remember."
Yeah.
Oh, he said, "You rocked. You fucking rocked," like that. And I didn't know who he was, but then somebody told me after.
Speaking about Andy Curran,
Yeah.
have I ever told you the Iron Maiden soccer story?
No.
Well, we had this soccer team in 1982 in Toronto called the Music Express Soccer Team.
Oh yeah.
Rick Emmett was on it. I was on it.
Wait,
A
hold
couple
on.
guys from Teenage Head.
FOTM, No one in Teenage Head. Actually.
Okay, wait a minute. Who gives a shit about that? What is this? FOTM. What is this? I'm just
Blair,
kidding.
come
I
on.
know
Tell
exactly
me
what
he's not
it
getting
is.
his fucking
I know
lasagna.
exactly what it is.
I'm
want
going to eat your
lasagna.
lasagna.
If I take that back and say something good about the lasagna, can I be known as an FOTM?
Only if
You
you say
already
something
are.
good about this podcast. I can't take away the accreditation that you are an FOTM. Keep going.
David,
So-
name the song.
So
Oh, yeah. Second song I learned how to play. This is for Cambrio. Can you sing it? What have I got?
Alice Cooper.
want to love me.
Is it my body?
You just threw me off.
Yeah, thanks. I want to play it.
I wanted to join in.
Someone I might be. We're almost getting to the chorus. Something inside me. Here we
Come on,
go.
Mike.
You gotta tell me.
Tell me. It's really up to you. If you've got the time to find out who I really am.
Yeah, that's a great
Love
song.
Alice Cooper.
that
That's
was
very
the
cool.
first song I learned how to play for
Oh,
real.
man.
So, oh yeah.
Now do
so
I'm 18.
FOTM. Rick Emmett is FOTM.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so we had this soccer team, and we used to play like little charity matches and things like that.
Yeah.
And Keith Sharp was friends with these people who played in Iron Maiden. So when they came to town, we played a soccer game with Iron Maiden. Except one of them came out and scored, I think, 8 goals on us in about 4 minutes, and that was their bass player, Steve Harris, who's a very good friend of Andy Curran's.
Okay.
And Steve was a professional level soccer player before the band really took off.
Wow.
And he
ringer.
was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Anyway, nice guys. We had a really great afternoon with them 40 years ago.
Okay. Now, before we get back to more live music, because I do want you guys to play. I can't. It's exciting. Wake up.
Keep talking.
I like to, sing along. You guys are getting another gift from me. You
Okay.
each get a wireless speaker. I think there's 2 on the table, but that's courtesy of Moneris.
Oh,
Wow.
Moneris sent over those Bluetooth speakers for you.
is this because we're FOTMs?
Well, it's because you're FOTMs, and it's because you're going to use that wireless speaker to listen to the award-nominated Yes, We Are Open podcast, which is hosted... Another great... Yeah, it's Boxan, right? Hosted by FOTM Al Grego.
Yes.
Season 3 just launched. Al Grego's a good guy. He put that echo effect on...
It's
Because-
so funny that you mentioned that because I was just thinking,
Yeah.
should we put some echo effect on?
So he puts on the echo effect because I think he thinks it sounds better for like music or whatever.
For live, yeah.
Yeah, but when I recorded it through the board or whatever, and that echo, I didn't love it for the podcast. But Al, we love you, man.
Yes.
And it sounded great. You sounded great, Blair, and everybody sounded great. We did our best with the recording, but there was an echo effect. But there's no echo effect on Yes, We Are Open. So people should subscribe and listen. You can go to yesweareopenpodcast.com and subscribe today. But while you're subscribing to great podcasts,
Yes.
Chris Cooksey hosts a podcast called The Advantaged Investor. That's a Raymond James Canada podcast. So you can listen to, your trusted financial advisors help you manage your investment plans. And what a silly little monkey. So you got your orders here. I already shouted out Sammy Cohn, but he's looking for any real estate questions. Sammy.Cohn. Cohn is Kohn. He's drumming up results. David Quinton Steinberg, he's got his drum kit ready to go. Blair's got a guitar. I'm going to shut up because I want to hear some live music. Damn it.
I'm going to sing a song and David's going to play. Where's my capo, though?
Yeah.
I did bring
This
a
is
capo.
exciting, everybody.
Maybe it's
Oh, you never gave me my gifts yet. Don't forget to give me those.
Oh,
wonderful
that's right.
gifts.
I've got those gifts for
Oh,
you.
you just handed it over? Okay.
What did I do with my jacket?
I got some gifts,
Is my
everybody.
jacket over
Could have
there?
been King by
You
Blair
mind?
Packham. Could have been King. There's a dog. Is that your dog, Blair?
That's King.
That's King.
Yeah. That's
Oh my
actually
God.
Danny Levy's dog, but yes, I think it's in the pocket.
What's dropped?
Yeah,
Oh, is
thank
that
you.
my
Yes, sir.
pump? You owe me a new pump there. I got to
Bike
pump my
pump.
bike. Blair Packham, unpopular pop. I like that
Swear to
title.
God, man, that's not my pump. It's not-
Is that an Austin Powers? What was that? Austin Powers. I mean, Mike Myers not an FOTM, but his brother from the Gravelberries.
Oh.
Lovely Paul.
You guys know the Gravelberries.
good friend of Blair's, Paul.
Oh yeah.
He's
Paul.
done the great the Kids in the Hall book. That I
He married Arlene and I. He and his wife.
You know what? Did I know that?
I don't know.
You're blowing my fucking mind
on a
right
beach
now.
in San Francisco.
Unbelievable. And was Mary Jo Eustace there?
She was there.
She was singing.
She was mad because I spurned her. No, I'm sure she doesn't remember me.
Wow. Okay.
Aha, capo.
There we go.
All right.
I'm going to sing a sad song. Is that okay?
Yeah, I want to be sad, actually. There's a comfort in being sad.
There is. Okay, here we go. In this key. Okay, here we go. So this is about my sister and I taking care of our mother as our mother declined. I just have to tune. Here we go. Lucy took another call. She knew would be recorded for the purposes of quality control. She gave out some information. She upgraded an account and briefly wondered what had happened to her soul. She stretched her neck and yawned and shrugged and thought about the weekend and how she'd finally have the chance to just sleep in. But in her dreams she is soaring out over the ocean, arms outstretched as wings, her hair shining in the sun. In her dreams, she is no prisoner of the day-to-day routine. She really loves to fly in her dreams. Lucy glanced up at the time, and as her customer complained, she thought of how her mom's not doing great. Confused and unhappy, Lucy visits her on Tuesdays, trying not to think of her mother as a weight. She listens as her customer goes on and on and on. Then she offers all she could offer all along. But in her dreams, she is soaring out over the ocean, arms outstretched as wings, her hair shining in the sun. In her dreams, she is no prisoner of the day-to-day routine. She really loves to fly in her dreams. It seems she either sleeps too much or barely sleeps at all. She wanders in a haze from day to day. Feeling lonely is a luxury. She knows others' lives are tougher and feels guilty when she wishes she could trade hers for another. But in her dreams, she is soaring out over the ocean, arms outstretched as wings, her hair shining in the sun. In her dreams, she is no prisoner of the day-to-day routine. She really loves to fly in her dreams. In her dreams, life is easy. Her mother's with her laughing.
They keep each other's secrets, and they hold each other's hands. In her dreams, she is so far away, and when she wakes, she wonders if today might be the day she learns to fly like she does in her dreams.
Amazing. Do I have... Okay, the crowd loves it.
Oh, phew.
I took some great video, too. Honestly, great. You know, there's a little, like a slight Warren Zevon.
Thank you. I love that.
There's a slight Warren Zevon, texture to the voice there, too.
Thank you.
Well done.
Big fan of Warren Zevon and a big fan of David Quinton Steinberg, by the way. David, so I've been playing a regular gig at this place called Sauce.
Yeah, tell me about that. I was going to ask you about it when David brought it up.
Yeah, well, it's a lovely little bar. I'm told it has the vibe of a Victorian brothel, but I've never been to one of those, so I don't know. But
It's got a New Orleans thing.
yeah, and it's like red flock wallpaper and kitschy stuff all over the place, and an old piano in the corner, and it's a lovely spot. But I was playing with my band there, and then that ended, and in the interim, I've been still playing the Wednesday nights there solo, and a couple of times, twice now, David has just shown up with his stuff ready to play.
Wow.
And like, I'm not speaking physically, but he has the biggest ears in town. Like David can play songs he's never heard before, and
wow.
They're covered by earphones right now, but he can hear anything and play along, and it's just gorgeous. And yeah, it's just a real pleasure to play with him.
Thanks, Blair. I've got the biggest ears and the biggest mouth. That's what a lot of people say.
It's a
biggest,
combo.
Biggest mouth in town. Well, it's really a lot of fun, very soul satisfying to play with him.
Yeah, well,
and
he's so talented,
we just do
right?
this. Yeah, he's unbelievable, and I get to listen to the songs, and I love the songs. So the fact that I'm sort of accompanying is irrelevant for me. I just like to hear him sing.
Well,
I like to hear him sing his material.
And actually, as a musician myself, if I could go somewhere and sit and sort of play along, I'd rather do that often than go and just stand there and watch. So I imagine for David, it's sort of, he gets to hear the songs, but he also gets to play, and I get the benefit of him playing. So it works out pretty good.
And I'm honored you guys just played in my basement, and I'm thinking we need to do this every 6 months. Like you two have to come on as a duo, because now we did almost 6 months to the day. So you absolutely have to come back. I'm happy to report that Sharon Taylor did finally pop into, at least chimed in on the chat at live.torontomike.com. She might have been lurking in the background the whole time. But she points out that she does not drive Blair Packham, and I would like to make an official apology to radio lady Sharon Taylor, and that I will no longer repeat that jokey lie that I've been.
She and Weisblot are sitting outside your house right now.
Sharon's awesome.
She writes,
Sharon's
"I'm kind of
awesome.
sweet on 1236." I think she's got a big crush on Weisblot.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not
who
be
could
surprised.
blame her, right?
Who could blame her? Yeah.
Who could blame her?
Yeah. So they're sitting outside right now, both mad at me.
I loved this so much. Honestly, I don't think 6 months is too far away, but geez.
I will never get to be a Hall of Famer at that rate. No.
How many do you have to do to become a Hall of Famer?
No, you
Toronto
can't
Mike?
quantify it that way. It's about, I'll know it when it, I'll just know. Like
It's
in my
more the
heart.
importance.
First of all, there's only 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
And the 4, one is Retro Ontario. Okay. He's one is Mark Weisblot.
Yes.
Look what he brings, 3 hours a month.
We've heard a lot about tonight, yes.
And the other 2 are Stu Stone and Cam Gordon, who are my co-hosts for Pandemic Fridays throughout the pandemic, and now they're my co-hosts for Toast.
Right on.
Like this is it's harder to get into the FOTM Hall of Fame than any Hall of Fame, I think. So.
I really wish I had gone to see Stu's movie. I didn't know that it was premiering.
So that means you're not listening to Toronto.
No,
Mike.
I was going to say it ran for another week, but isn't that week over now?
Okay, let's figure it out. So it debuted on Thursday was the premiere, and then it said it was running for a week. I think it's still there.
It's still there. I can still go.
What film are we talking about?
This movie's called Bandits. It's actually, no, straight up. I mean, he didn't pay me a penny. I wouldn't say anything if I didn't think it was very good. It's a fun romp. Like, it's a fun movie. I enjoyed it. It is playing at the Scotiabank Theatre. It's got 1 week theatrical run, and then David Kynes. You guys know David Kynes?
Yes, I know David, yeah.
He takes it over and airs it on Hollywood Suites. But
Sure.
you should still have time to see it at
Yeah,
Scotiabank
Okay,
Theater.
yeah.
Just today we were talking about Tony Napo, who's the star of this movie. But Jan Arden's in this movie. We're
Oh.
talking about Canadian musicians.
Cool.
And, awesome. Thank you guys so much. We're going to be taking our photo in the dark, but it would have been dark if we took it at 5 p.m.
Exactly.
So, no big deal.
You should just wait till 9 a.m. tomorrow when it's light again.
Yeah.
You guys can crash on the...
We can
bed
play.
in the corner.
We can play.
We'll just play.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,146th show. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Toronto Mike. I'm still there. Blair is still there. He's at Blair Packham. You can follow him on Twitter. David's not there, but he's got like an Instagram and a Facebook. You can find him. It's David Quinton Steinberg. Our friends at Great Lakes Brewery are at Great Lakes Beer. Palma Pasta's at Palma Pasta. Don't leave without your lasagnas. Sticker U is at Sticker U. You guys got a sticker, Toronto Mike sticker last time you were here, right? Good. Moneris is at Moneris. You've got your wireless speakers. Raymond James Canada are at Raymond James CDN. Recycle My Electronics are at EPRA_Canada. Ridley Funeral Home are at Ridley FH. And Canna Cabana, they're at Canna Cabana_. Sammy Cohn, he's also drumming up results. He's at Sammy Cohn. And we'll see you all next week.
And I play this guitar just the best that I can.